Thank you.
Oh, we got a raised hand.
Hi, Pam, just me.
Hi, Peter, what's up?
I just wanted to mention before you get started, 206 Massapog, Kim Craven.
Yep.
Going to want to continue until we can get to a full board.
Okay.
And I want to make sure, just as a reminder, you and I had a previous email exchange about a week ago that 50 Westford Road is not ready yet.
Right. Yep.
We're making some design changes based upon the planning board comments, and we need some extra time to do that.
That's going to be continued to the 27th.
Okay.
Okay, Chaz, you're live and being recorded. You're live on the government channel. You all have a great meeting, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
All right, I hereby open this meeting of the Tyngsborough Conservation Commission under the State Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and in accordance with the Town of Tyngsborough Wetland Protection Bylaw. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. Public participation is only required during a public hearing, though the chair may utilize their own discretion to provide an avenue for public comment during other items on the meeting agenda. Please note this meeting is being recorded and aired live, and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that people may be able to see you. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. But before we do so, please permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, as the acting chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. If anyone has a comment or question, it can be submitted in the chat window and will be recognized by myself. If you are calling in on a phone, please press #9 to raise your hand, and when appropriate, you will be unmuted and asked to speak. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If and when the opportunity for public comment, I will make sure that statement. Members of the public wishing to make a comment should raise their hand to notify the meeting host that you wish to be heard. Please ensure that you are appropriately named so that we may identify you when it's your turn to speak. When called on, the host will unmute you and permit you to speak. You will be muted when done. And finally, all votes will be conducted by a roll call vote. First on the agenda tonight, we have 222 Massapog Road, map 2, parcel 32, lot 0. Costas Melanapis, applicant for 957 to create a sandy beach, rebuild existing dilapidated stone steps, and replant vegetation on a slope to water along the buffer zone to Lake Massapog, continued from March 23rd, 2021.
Mr. Chair, I reached out to Mr. Malapanis regarding this hearing tonight, and I did not get a response. Therefore, we should probably continue to our next meeting, April 27th.
I have a motion to continue to April 27th.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the hearing to April 27th.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? A motion and a second.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, everyone in favor, roll call vote. Linda,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
I too am in favor. Number 2 is on our agenda tonight is 206 Massapog Road, map 2, parcel 28-0. Kim Craven, applicant for a notice of intent. DEP number 3090961 to repair an existing damaged retaining wall, continued from March 23rd, 2021. And Attorney DeCosia, we will turn this over to you.
Mr. Chairman, we'd also request a push to April 27th as well.
Get a motion to continue to April 27th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue 206 Maxapog Road to April 27th.
I have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All right,
A second.
roll call vote. Bruce,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
I too am in favor of continuing. Next on our agenda is 50 Westford Road, map 21, parcel 23-1A. BAPS Development, Inc., applicant for a notice of intent and stormwater management permit for the construction of a 55,600 square foot, 2-story religious building with associated utilities, grading, and parking. And Attorney Kosher, I will turn this over to you.
Mr. Chairman, we'd also like to continue this to April 27th. We're still working on plan updates based upon our most recent comments from the planning board at the last meeting. We're attempting to make some design changes that will ultimately affect our existing filings with this board.
I get a motion to continue 50 Westford Road.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue 50 Westford Road to April 27th.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Jeff,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
I too will vote to continue. Next on the agenda, we have 166 Frost Road, map 18, parcel 6, lot 0, Dracut Water Supply District. Applicant for a request for determination of applicability for construction of a water treatment facility within 100 feet of bordering land subject to flooding, continued from March 23rd, 2021. Okay, so
Mary Grover and Mary Danielson are present to speak on this project.
all right, well, which Mary would like to go first?
Hi, this is Mary Danielson. I'll let Mary Grover start though.
Okay, Mary Grover,
Hello.
please, the floor is yours.
This is Mary Grover. As you mentioned, we've continued this since the last meeting. Since the last meeting, there was a site visit with the commission, I believe, on the 27th of March. And the commission at the last meeting wanted time to talk things over with DEP and with the town to see if an RDA or an NOI was more appropriate. So we are back to discuss that and see what the commission thinks about this proposed manganese water treatment facility on Frost Road.
Okay, Mary Danielson, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, just that I was in attendance of the site visit that we had last, and happy to answer any questions that you guys have tonight.
Okay, last night at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, Dracut Water Supply withdrew their application without prejudice for this property. I think that has some bearing on what we would want to do going forward. The issue is that you have not established site control of the property. And I know I'm a little hesitant to try and rule on anything until the Board of Selectmen, till you're back before the Board of Selectmen and you have managed to get a hold of that property. I don't know how anybody else on the board feels about that, but taking the property by eminent domain from a long time resident of Tyngsborough, I'm not in favor of that at all. So I would like to have this continued until you do have control of the property. Anybody else have anything else that they would like to add to that?
Yeah, this is Jeff. So certainly, it's from what I've seen, the project's been presented well to us, but I would concur with what you're saying in that, we need to see final resolution on, ownership of the property really before we can proceed to move on it.
Bruce, any comments from you?
No, I agree with both of your comments, so I don't have anything new to add.
Linda?
All set.
So I guess my question to the Marys is, how would you like us to proceed? Would you like to withdraw without prejudice, or would you like a vote tonight? I think you've kind of heard from the members that are here this evening that would be voting, and it seems like we really are not in favor of doing anything right now until you do get control of the property one way or the other.
Yeah, I was at the meeting last night, so I can understand the reservations surrounding this, and certainly it's a turbulent situation. So I see your standpoint there. I can say we have a meeting tomorrow to discuss what the path forward is on this project, whatever path that is in terms of ownership, but I can understand where you're coming from. So I don't really have much more to add to that. I would ask Mary Grover if she has any opinions on this, as she's the wetlands person here.
Yeah, I would just say, do you have any concerns apart from the property ownership that would make you hesitant towards issuing a negative determination, so that if we did continue, we could address any of those concerns in the meantime, or we don't want, if you're forced to make a decision, we don't want the factor to be that.
I understand that completely, and I would not want you to do anything you're not comfortable with. No matter where this goes, at some point, you're going to have to come up with a file a notice of intent. But I would like to see this whole thing pulled back and started again once you get control of the property, if that's the best route that you want to go. I do understand that you have other options, purchasing water from Lowell, locating it on property that you already own. As you know, the neighborhood is pretty upset about this project going through. And again, you don't have control of the property at this point. So I would like to see you ask for a withdrawal without prejudice and come back to us at a later date when you do have control.
Okay. Mary Danielson, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I can understand that reasoning. I don't feel confident necessarily at this time necessarily that withdrawing is from this committee's hearing of the project at this time. I know that after last night's meeting, there are a lot, there are heightened emotions surrounding the property acquisition. I can't say right now how quickly those will or will not resolve. So I guess my preference would be maybe to continue one more time, see where that lands. And if it looks like we're going to be on a much longer time delay than that, then maybe withdraw at that time if that seems appropriate. That's just my
All
2
right.
cents. I'm not a permitting person, so.
That's fine with me. Do you have any idea when you would settle this with the owner? I mean, are we looking at weeks? Are we looking at months? What's your
Yeah,
best guess?
We're meeting with the legal counsel tomorrow, with the district and their legal counsel, and I'll have a better idea after that on what they think the timeline is. We unfortunately, these 2 meetings were in quick succession to one another, so I just don't have a lot of updates right now on how quickly that will happen. I've been told it could be just a matter of weeks if all goes well, but obviously purchase and sales can take a lot longer than that. So if we do go full property acquisition route and buy the parcel, that will be a much longer process. But tonight, I don't have a good update on that. But I could see it going either way, either the quick turnaround or the long turnaround. So I'd just rather keep us on this, on your schedule for the time being. If it does turn around quickly, great. If not, then we can withdraw at that time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please.
is it possible for them to continue to a May meeting, or do they have to, if they want to continue, they have to be the very next meeting that's available, which would be the 27th of April, or could they continue to one of the dates in May?
I would like to see, if we're going to continue this, I would like to see it continued to our next meeting. And that, I think within 2 weeks, you'll have an idea of what the time frame looks like, won't you, Mary?
Yeah, I feel confident that we'll come to a decision pretty quickly on what we think the timeline will be and which way we're going with this. Unfortunately, we just couldn't pull a meeting together before tonight's meeting since there are just a lot of meetings back to back. So I wish I could tell you more tonight, but unfortunately, I don't have a lot of updates right now, but I do anticipate having them in short order.
So you would like to continue to our next meeting then on April 27th?
That would be my preference. Just, there is a route where it does turn around quickly and we have things resolved, a purchase and sale signed or obtaining the property through eminent domain, whatever route that is, that could happen really quickly. And if so, I'd rather be on your schedule for the time being. And then if that doesn't happen, it'll be pretty obvious to me, I think, once I have a chance to talk with the client and their counsel more. And yeah, to your point, we'll know that pretty quickly, I think. But for now, I would like to stay on the schedule just to leave that one avenue open if we do manage to turn something around.
Okay. Any other members have any comments? All right, then I would entertain a motion to continue to our next meeting on April 27th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue 166 Frost Road to April 27th.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Bruce,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and I also am in favor of continuing. Next on the agenda, we have ROW along Middlesex Road. Pan Am Railways, Inc., applicant for request for determination of applicability to verify the wetland boundaries along the railway right-of-way, ROW, for purposes of future herbicide treatments as allowed per Mass Department of Agriculture regulations, as advertised in the Lowell Sun, April 6th, 2021. Okay, this is,
Mr. Chair, Keith Morris, he is the applicant on this for Pan Am Railways, and he didn't think that he was going to make it to the meeting. He did issue a statement saying that the state has asked for the following determination, as the no spray zones have not changed in the last 20 years, and the application is monitored by Mr. Morris every year to ensure that no spray zones are properly located. We did receive notification that the herbicide application process will begin after May 1st and conclude on or about August 1st. He's looking for a positive determination for the verification of the resource areas, which is consistent with what we've been doing for the past about 9 years, 10 years that I know of.
so we're opening up, are we opening a public hearing? Do we need to waive
Yes.
the? Okay. So I need a motion to waive the readers of the abutters list and the legal notice.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the abutters list and the legal motion.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second,
Second.
Okay, roll call. Jeff,
Yes.
Bruce,
yes.
Linda,
Yes.
I too am in favor to waive the reading. I believe this is work that's gone on every year for the last 20 or so years.
Yeah.
So I think we're fine moving ahead with this, if the rest of the board is in favor of that.
The only question I have, Mr. Chairman, is I know it hasn't changed, but are we sure how accurate it is? I guess in my particular case, I have at least 300-foot frontage on the railroad. And I know I have a spring well that's within 100 feet of the railroad. And I don't know if mine particular area is marked as wetland or protected area because of the well. And it is wetland back there as well, because whatever I don't drink makes a swamp. So there are other maps available that such things can be checked and double checked.
Yeah, he did include the maps. Trying to share my screen here. I know where it's doing that. Not working. But the maps are on, trying to get the, if you have, yeah, I mean, there's not much I can say to it because I'm not. Let me see. Can you see that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So these are the maps that were included in the package.
Okay.
Is that, so starting at the new, the town border?
Like there's a no spray zone down near you, Bruce,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Down a little bit further, Pam. Oh,
Those-
I'm sorry.
those yellow markers are the no spray zone.
Okay. And that's the bridge that's just south of second marker down?
Yeah, here's the bridge right here.
Okay.
So let's see.
So I'm located just north of the bridge. So that first yellow marker would probably be right close to where I am.
Yeah, so Farwell Road is over here.
Well, it goes the whole length, right? It just goes
Yeah,
from just past the bridge down and around and back up to Middlesex Road again. And I'm
Yeah.
the second house closest to the river. So it's right near that yellow marker.
Can you zoom in on that, Pam, and just so we know exactly where we?
so
Yeah, come down just a little bit.
here's the bridge.
So there's no spray zone goes between those two yellow markers that we can now see?
No,
Yeah.
just the yellow markers.
So
Oh,
yeah, just the
okay.
yellow markers are areas of no spray.
Okay,
The blue is limited spray.
okay.
So it follows, so Middlesex Road goes up here to the left. Farwell Road is here. So all back here behind Farwell is all limited spray up until the Mass border.
You know what limited spray means?
I don't, wonder if it might explain it. So here's a depiction of the marker, restricted, no spray, restricted.
Yeah, so if you read the vegetation management plan that they
Mhm.
prepared, this goes into detail of all of that. In fact, it gives very nice descriptions of definitions of sensitive areas, restrictions associated with that, how they came to that, you know, where all of that is. It provides, again, you know, what are the spray zones required, where are they, and everything. And I'm a little disappointed someone hasn't shown up, because basically after reading this, my biggest question kind of aligns with what Bruce was saying. And if we go back to really go back to the management plan, and I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through it right now to find the section I was looking for.
Here's a description of the marking system.
Yeah, but I
So-
was looking, there was more of I mean, it really basically says in one section of it that there's been minimal changes to the plan since basically the year 2000 when it was first introduced.
Mhm.
And so my question really for the applicant is, you know, so what kind of work has been done to update this? You know, certainly within towns, and, you know, Tyngsborough can't be the only town where this plan has to be put in place. But how is this updated? How is the plan updated to account for new properties that are going in? Perhaps new resource areas just due to changes. And it really wasn't clear to me from reading the plan how that was done. It seemed like more or less this is kind of, you know, built upon a previous plan, and it doesn't, and I couldn't really figure out how is the plan updated? What is new? How are we ensuring that, the appropriate properties, the appropriate things are taking place as, as a change from the last time it came through? So that would
Do
be
we
my
have-
question.
Do we have to vote on this tonight, or can we continue it when somebody can come in and answer those questions?
You can continue it.
Yeah. And I had another question that, and Pam, perhaps you understand this a little bit. I mean, this is coming through as an RDA.
Mhm.
And typically when we, if we find a positive determination, then it's followed up with a notice of intent. What's the process for this?
Well, this particular determination, this positive determination, because this RDA is just to verify the resource areas. So there are different checks on the application. This one particular was to verify the sensitive areas. The positive determination would basically just state that the verification of the sensitive areas are verified and accurate based on the maps that they provided. That was my understanding when I reviewed what the determination positive 2A meant. So that's where another, it's another question that Mr. Morris could answer.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Again,
Yeah.
and these are pretty simple, straightforward. I mean, I understand the need for this, and we've seen these repetitive things come through time after time again. But again, those are my two questions, basically. What's the process, or is this plan the process to, is everything updated in here? And if that's the case, could we just have a quick summary of, what is different from the last time that this was presented to the commission? And again, it'd probably be helpful, and I apologize, if he could explain how an RDA is applicable here, how that is being used, and does it require a follow-up on our part?
Can you reach out to him and see if he can be at our next meeting then?
Yes, yeah.
And those are my two questions. I don't know if others have additional on top of that, but that's what I was going to ask tonight.
Yeah.
No, that's excellent, because that's you said it better than I did. I mean, the well that's down there, I only use as backup now because I had another well dug. But the net result of it was, like I said, in fact I'm not using it actively, it has now spilt over and created a wetland. And like 2 years ago, I spotted a blanding turtle down there, and that habitat is different than it was 15 years ago because I'm not using that well actively anymore.
Right, and I think it's just interesting also your comment, perhaps your new well isn't, anywhere near the railroad tracks, but people do have new wells dug. How is that monitored and tracked and appropriately presented here? And like I say, the plan is beautiful. I mean, it's well written, detailed, it's nicely done. I just can't pick out what the differences are and how we would want to move forward. Those, like I say, would be my questions.
All right, any other comments, or do we want to continue this? If we want to continue, then let's make a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue this until the April 27th meeting.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
And I also am in favor of continuing to April 27th. All right, next up, we have 71 Parham Road, map 31, parcel 90, lot 0. Peter Imhoff, applicant for request for determination of applicability for a proposed installation of a 12 by 20 oval above-ground pool advertised in the Lowell Sun, April 6th, 2021. Can I get a motion to waive the reading of the abutters list and the legal ads?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to waive the reading of the abutters list and the legal ad.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
Call vote. Linda,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Bruce,
yes.
and I also am a yes. All right. Do we have the applicant here that he could speak on this?
Yes. Peter is, you can speak, Peter?
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Hey.
Peter Rimhoff, 71 Parham Road, homeowner. Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. Just a 12 by 20 oval above ground aluminum pool right behind the deck there, as you can see in some of the pictures. It's on the lawn, mostly with a lawn in my backyard that grades down into the wooded swamp into the back of the yard there. It's just, yeah, I think about, it's relatively flat, so maybe about 12 inches of soil will be just to help level it and put some sand down for the pool. And that's about it.
Yeah. Pool you're gonna have lengthwise running along the deck?
Lengthwise is total. The pool's 12 feet long. Lengthwise will probably be thinking probably an extra foot or so, maybe 14 or 16 feet just along the side of where the deck is.
So it will run parallel with the deck and not the
Yes,
other way,
correct.
right?
It's going to be parallel with the deck, correct.
And I'm sorry, from the maps here, I can't see where the resource areas are and where the buffer zones are, or I think I see them, but I can't read them.
So
The dark green is the
this
30
here
foot.
is the 30-foot buffer. Here's your 50-foot, here's your 100-foot.
Okay. And the question, I have two questions for the applicant, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay. The first being, what kind of backwash system are you using? Hello, Peter?
Yep, I'm here. What do you mean by backwash? Like the water?
Yeah,
The filter,
it's
what kind
town.
of filter?
the kind of filter system.
Oh, it's a DE filter. It's I'm new to this whole pool thing, so it's not sand, it's not salt, it's not cartridge, it's
It's
DE.
called diatomaceous earth.
There you go.
Thanks, Pam. And the kind of the second question I had for you, is there anything else? I mean, have you included in your request here kind of the deck that you plan on putting around it and whether there's going to be a walkway to it or anything like that? Just simply from the standpoint, if there's something else you have in mind, you know, now is the time to ask for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know right now the deck's gonna stay the way it is right now. We have a ladder right now that's going to be used for it, but eventually in the future, I'm thinking a few years down the road, I'm thinking of just that deck will eventually just tie into the pool at some point.
Then would it be appropriate to give an approval for, you know, a deck, an attachment of a deck from the existing deck to the pool?
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Approval for somehow tying that deck into it, and get a builder out there somehow to look at it, I guess.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
would confine you basically between the pool and the deck itself. That would allow you, if you were going to move in the other direction, you'd have to come back again. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, but I'm not doing that anytime soon. Tying the deck into the pool is not going to be, that's going to be years down the road.
Right, but even
Right.
at that, this, you would have, if the commission approves it, you would already have your approval. You wouldn't have to come back for that portion of it. Like I say,
Right.
if you
Oh,
were
yeah.
to
It'll save me a
move,
step. Yeah.
yeah, if you were to
Yep.
move in the direction towards the wetlands, towards the resource area, we wouldn't include that. That if you were to, include a deck that wrapped all the way around, you'd have to come back again.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not going to go wrapping around the deck, the pool. No, it'll just be right at the top.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Jeff, anyone else have any comments?
Yep, Mr. Chairman, how level is it? Do you have to do any regrading? Does he have to do any regrading where the pool is actually going to be? Or is it fairly level? It looks fairly level here, but it's hard to tell the two-dimensional.
Yeah, it's fairly level. I had a guy come out and look. He thinks no more than 12 inches, if anything. So he's been doing pools for like 30 years, so I took his word for it.
What kind of material was he proposing to put in there?
Sand. Sand, yep.
Well, I don't have any problem with this as long as you're out of the resource area. And we have no backwash going on that could be pushed down into the resource area.
You can add those conditions if you'd like.
Would you want to read that condition then, Pam?
Pardon me?
Did you want to read that condition, the order of conditions? So someone could make a motion?
The condition that a diatomaceous earth filter be used and that no backwashing of the filter be conducted.
Okay. Any more discussion from the board? Or? All right, hearing none. Would someone like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for a negative request of negative determination of applicability for the installation of a 12 by 20-foot oval above ground pool as sketched out in the presentation provided to us, with the additional condition that it may include also a deck to connect from the existing deck to the pool, as well as the use of a diatomaceous earth filter and no backwashing into the resource area.
Jeff, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second,
Okay, 20 seconds. Roll call vote. Linda,
yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
and I too am a yes.
So,
All right,
and-
Peter.
and
Good luck with your
that-
project.
Yeah, Peter, a negative is what you wanted.
Yeah, you scared me for a
I
second.
know.
Yeah.
It
I was
scares
like, what?
everybody. I don't want to point that out.
That's
You know,
awesome.
you-
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think that Keith Morris might have just popped into the attendant.
All right, well, if he has, then maybe he can make you give us some help here with this.
Keith Morris, raise your hand if, okay.
Keith, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can. We have some questions for you.
Okay.
All right, I'll let, we have some questions about the updating of the plans and exactly how they work. Pam, could you bring that back up again for us so we can take a look at it? Jeff, do you want to, you seem to have a good grasp of this. If you want to just express your concerns to
Sure.
Keith.
Sure. Hi, Keith. My
Oh.
name is Jeff Kablik. And my questions are pretty straightforward. I just couldn't pull them out from the plan. Thank you for a very nice detailed vegetation management plan. One of the things that wasn't clear to me and clear to the commission in general as we discussed this a little bit is that it wasn't clear to us how this plan is updated, in particular with consideration to other potential things that may have occurred in this town or other towns. I'm sure you're presenting something similar to other communities, but in particular, new wells do get dug occasionally. Land or homeowner may need to dig a new well, or wetlands have changed or something. So how is this plan that's been presented, does that take into consideration all of the potentials, or are we approving a positive request for determination that allows you to move forward and go identify those things? So, and again, it's a very detailed or nicely detailed plan. I just couldn't pull out what the changes are from the last one and how it is that this particular plan is updated with considerations to anything that may have changed within the community.
Okay, I'll give you a little background. We were required to do this every 5 years
Right.
for the no spray zones as part of their vegetation management plan. So the plan you approve tonight, hopefully, or whenever, that's the plan for the next 5 years, but things do change. I ride with the applicator every year. I've been doing it for 20, 25 years. It's the same applicator out of Westfield. And I make notes on the plans because you'll have situations where there may be beaver activity. So now you have, 100 feet, 50 feet, that's no spray because of the beaver dam. And I make that note, as we go each year, and then I have that plan. But we're not required to submit that to the local conservation commissions, but for every 5 years. But what I do is pretty much every year is look at the water supply GIS, the state website. And those situations don't really change much, but I believe on your plan here, there was a couple of zone 2 areas that are no longer there. So that has been changed. And then when I do the 5-year update determination, I will make any changes on the wetland boundary based on, my notes from the previous 5 years. But the other thing is, as we spray every year and I'm with him, even if it pours the night before, you have a drainage ditch that's not regulated, but there's standing water in it because of the rain, they can't spray within 10 feet of that either. And that's pretty much my job with them, is to locate the no spray zones and areas that they can't spray.
So this is, if I understand this correctly, it's kind of although the plan itself is kind of set, it's kind of a living type of plan as information is gathered over the next 5 years that will go into, updating the next plan.
Yeah, and it's not just because you're approving this tonight for 5 years. It's not a situation where, like I said, if there's a beaver dam and that area changed, we don't say, well, this is what they approved and they said we could spray this area, so we're going to spray it. That's not how it works. They're licensed applicators. Like I said, even just a puddle, they can't spray within 10 feet of that. So yeah, it is. It's, it does change somewhat, but like I said, I think this is the 4th or 5th time I've been doing it. So 20 or 25 years, and there's not a whole lot of changes other than perhaps maybe some of the water supply areas.
And then kind of the second question I had was, how is this managed through an RDA process? And forgive me, simply because what I'm familiar with is finding, in particular, we're looking for a positive determination for applicability on this one. And usually if we find that, that is a follow-up to an applicant applying, then following up with the notice of intent. And that doesn't seem to be the case here. So can you,
Yep.
Can you teach me the process a little bit?
Part of the submittal is an addendum to the Wetlands Protection Act from back in '87. When they made a decision, they involved all the different boards to discuss riverfront areas, certified vernal pools, all kinds of different boards to come up with a plan for herbicide spraying. And this is what they came up with, that if we stay 10 feet away from resource areas and we have an approved vegetation management plan and we have an approved yearly operational plan, that the other resource areas are assumed to be protected. So the determination, I think it's a positive 2A, which the state asked for, is basically you're just approving those no spray areas. And what I always tell the commissions, it's not per se, we're not out there with blue numbered flagging, which is typical for construction. We paint the actual rails, and that's the approved method from the Department of Agricultural Resources. So I always recommend to the commissions that when they approve it, they put a note in the comment section that the delineation is just for the purpose of vegetation management.
Sure. That's what I have. Is anyone else have anything?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So I guess it's just really a follow-up to what Jeff said, because I have about 300 foot of frontage along the railroad track down off Frowell Road. And I have a spring well down there that I don't really use much anymore. And since I'm not using it, it's spring water, it's overflowed and be creating like a swamp down area down there, which is a former wetland. And so I was curious whether that would be something you'd be able to pick up by a drive-by on the train versus.
It would be, if we see any kind of ponding or anything that's within 10 feet of the spray zone. The other thing I think it might be these tracks. There's a house that has a bunch of blueberry bushes down along the tracks, things of that nature. We come across gardens, obviously, or lawns. They'll shut off completely going through those areas. But if you want to get that information to Pam and she can email me, I'll double check that. But if there's water, or wetlands within 10 feet of the spray pattern, the spray pattern itself is 10 feet on center. So it's basically the ballast area. But if that, comes within 10 feet, then they can't spray that.
Yeah, so I'm almost where she's showing right now. Down on, right, you can see Flower Road, the bridge, and there's all a yellow marker, and that's probably pretty close to my property.
Okay.
And I'm probably just a little bit further north than that, where it's wet.
Okay. I mean, I can certainly double check that.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? I'm good with this. Thank you so much, Keith, for coming on.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. That helped.
I apologize I'm late, but typically without COVID, I'd be driving to all these towns. So now I just sit in my office, and this is actually the fourth one of the night. So it's a lot easier. Not a big Zoom guy, but it's working out. If I could get a copy of the determination, Pam, when it's ready, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, so shall we vote on this then, now that we've?
So what do we do with the previous vote?
Did we reopen?
It was never closed, so it was only continued. So you can cancel that motion and ask to open for public questions if you'd like.
Okay, so do we need a motion to retract our continuation?
Yes.
Right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to undo the continuation.
Second?
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call. Linda?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
I also am in favor of rescinding our continuation and just continuing our discussion tonight on the ROW. Did anybody in the public want to speak on this?
Not see any hands raised.
All right. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Bruce. Can I have a second?
Second,
All right. All those in favor, Linda,
yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
And I am also in favor of closing the public hearing. Any further discussion on the ROW? Seeing none, I would be open for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for a positive determination of applicability to verify wetland boundaries along the railway right-of-way for the purposes of future herbicide treatments as allowed per Mass Department of Agriculture regulations.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second,
Go ahead.
Okay, roll call vote. Linda,
yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
I also am in favor, so that does pass. All right, next, let's see, enforcement, 194 Massapog Road. Commission vote to ratify. So do we have anybody here to speak on this, or?
Yes, there's a few people here. My husband and I, Jill and Dan DeFosse, own the property at 194 Massapog. And we also have Jay Stamp, I believe, on the line, who is our hired general contractor, as well as the well company, Scott Wilkins, also on the line.
Okay, the floor is yours. My understanding is that we've drilled the well and pushed all the sediment into Lake Massapog. And so we're kind of looking for some details to this and what the cleanup plan is and so forth. So I don't know whether Jay or Scott want to speak to that, but one of you needs to. Jay, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, hey, thank you. Again, I'm the general contractor on the job. I hired Scott to do the well. Scott is on the call. I imagine he'll be raising his hand shortly here. I was notified that somebody was pumping water into the lake. So, I instantly called Scott. His guys were there. He did immediately stop pumping. The well was already dug and done, so he wasn't pumping sediment. They were running water. I believe what the picture shows is the water stirring, just the lake water that was already, the sand that was already in the lake. We've since, obviously, that lasted very, very short time and it was immediately stopped. But there was no chemicals or, any sand being pumped. It was water from the well. And it was very short-lived and stopped right away.
Scott, are you on? Do you want to comment?
I think Scott's texting me. I think he's having trouble with the Zoom.
Yeah, I don't see him on the attendee list.
His name's actually coming up as Delaney.
Delaney Wilkins?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Got it.
Scott, are you there?
Am I on?
You're
Yes,
on.
you are.
Oh,
Right.
I'm sorry. There's one in every crowd, and that was me.
I'm looking for a Scott, not a Delaney.
I'm sorry. I had to use my daughter's laptop. I apologize. I did hear everybody's comments. Yes, that was not water from the drilling of the well. What happened was when we started to flush the tank, the guys had the garden hose out in the yard and they walked away from it. It's a distance to walk from the basement up to the road to where the truck is. And because the well was making so much water, as the pressure came up, the hose started to move. So we were washing water into the lake. There was no chemicals, no well products. It was well water that disturbed the soil at the edge of the water. That took place in probably less than 10 minutes.
Was this an existing well or a new well?
No, we drilled a new one up by the road.
Where did that sediment go?
We had pits to contain it up by the road.
Then the process is that you flush the well, is that?
So what happened
Correct.
was, drilling of the well part, it was challenging, but we managed to get through that with no problem. Then the well was connected to the home and we set the water tank in the basement. Because we didn't want to run water uncontrollably, we wanted to put the tank in the basement and be able to use a garden hose. So we came out through the basement, out the slider to the backyard, and they were trying to monitor the water to keep it from going to the lake. Well, they went up to the truck, and when they came back down, that hose had moved.
It's like
And
an
that's what
awfully
set it
large area of disturbance for a garden hose.
Oh, it was pumping probably about 15 gallons a minute.
Again, it just looks like a big disturb. How long is that dock that we're seeing?
I honestly don't know.
About 16 feet.
Right, and so you're another 10 feet beyond that from the picture that I'm looking at. So you're saying that a garden hose caused that type of disturbance?
Yeah, we were pumping close to 15 gallons a minute out of a 3/4 inch garden hose. And as it built up the pressure, that's what caused the hose to move because it was going up and down.
The garden hose actually in the water? Or was it
Yeah,
pushing the soil?
it jumped over the fence.
Or the
silt fence.
black fence there?
Yes, sir.
And where did it start? Where was the hose?
Oh, it was probably 10 feet up from the silt fence. We had the water shooting out and around. We were trying to move it, to keep it from running down so we didn't send water towards the silt fence.
How long was it left unattended?
10 minutes, if that.
All right, well. Anybody else in the commission want to speak right now? And then I'll reserve my right to come back and say something later.
Yeah, I guess my only comment in particular is, at least in the numbers that are being reported, it's hard for me to see that there'd be any additional sedimentation associated with that type of water with going into it. It would have been probably more helpful, I guess. Ed went down and had a look at the site to have him report on this to kind of understand exactly what his observations were.
It did go down to the site.
Right, but what were his observations?
We don't really have any notes from his visit.
Right.
I do believe he spoke with DEP about this, and that they recommended that that they hire a wetlands consultant to prepare a detailed restoration plan.
Yeah, and the only problem I have with that, and I saw that, the only problem I have that makes the assumption that a restoration plan is required. And again, I just don't know that this is the case.
Do I?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the DEP knew the scope of the violation.
Right.
Jay's got his hand raised, but he's unmuted, so he can speak.
Jay?
Who are we looking
Am
for,
I
Jeff?
okay to speak? Just a side note, I did talk to Ed that day. And I said, Ed, I'm aware that you were called, something happened. I just want to follow up and everything. He said he went down there, the silt fence all looked good. I've been very diligent about making sure this silt fence is staying up. I know Jill and Dan, everything we do there, we've been very, very cautious. It's a really tough lot, but we've been taking really every precaution we can to make sure that we, maintain the health of the lake. I own a house on a lake myself, so I take it pretty serious too. I know how important it is. My kids swim in them, and and I know Dan and Jill have, this place has been in their family for 100 years, and they have stressed the importance of it, as we have with Scott too. I think it was an unfortunate mistake that could have been easily avoided, but the damage, was very, very minimal. I think, that's a very sandy area to begin with. A natural sandy beach area they have there. And I just think the picture looks a lot worse than it was, I was there, and that silt basically dissipated within an hour. It looked back like the pictures we sent today. So.
And who sent the picture, and how soon after the occurrence was the picture taken?
So the photos, this is Jill. So we took the photos shortly after. We just wanted to make a note. I sent the photos to Pam this afternoon. So I just thought it was important that we made a note that you guys could see that the bottom of the lake here is all soft beach sand. So it's really not going to take much water pressure to stir the whole that whole area up, as you saw in the aerial photo. It's not a dark, hard bottom. It is beach sand all the way out, pretty much to the end of that dock that you see. We have another dock on the left. I think it's shown in the other picture. And that's all very soft beach sand. You can walk out probably to about 8 feet, all in soft beach sand. So it's, I don't think the pressure of the water would take much to stir up that bottom. And as Jay commented, I think the photo is worse than it looks. I mean, we were upset when we heard the mishap that took place here, because we have been doing everything that we should be doing to get this project completed without violating, any type of the water buffer or the lake. So just a note, just a side note, that's all you can see, soft beach sand. That's there. That's not from the water. That's been there for 30 years.
So when was this picture taken?
That picture was taken today.
In the occurrence was how long ago?
I think there's a date on it, the 22nd, 23rd.
23rd. Yeah, and from the picture that was taken today, I mean, and again, I would like to hear Ed's comments on this, but when I look into the water, certainly we can see a beachfront there, but then just going out a little ways, you can see vegetation still in the water. I'm just not, it's difficult to tell whether really there was any significant impact, and that's where, I think Ed would be able to provide some insight.
Do you know what the time difference was between when the incident was rectified or the water shut off and when Ed arrived? Was it like within 10 minutes, or was it like the next day, or?
Ed was out there on March 29th, so 6 days later.
Okay.
The sediment that's up against the silt fence, where is that coming from? Or was that there like that anyway? Because that looks very sandy to me as well.
It is. That's the current land. That's always been there.
Yeah, this whole lot is, so I've done all the excavation on this lot, and it's basically all sand. So there's a pretty steep pitch here. There's a double silt fence with a hay wattle there too. So, obviously we're working on the lot, and the silt fence is doing its job. It's keeping everything out of the lake. And we're monitoring it every day. So.
Anybody else have anything on the commission to add, or?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to add, I mean, certainly I'd be open to just continuing this before we act on it. We don't have anybody at this meeting who has been there and taken a look at to report back and answer some of these questions that we have. And I'd be certainly open to going down there. But again, we're going off of pictures and.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff. I'd like to have Ed weigh in on this if we could get him. I'd like to continue this to our next meeting, and we can probably wrap it up then. But I'd like to have Ed's comments and see what he's has to say, where he's actually been on the site visit and seen what's going on over there.
And would it be okay if I went down and had a look?
Sure.
Is this Jill? Who?
No, this is Linda.
Oh, Linda.
You can always go down, Jeff.
Thanks.
You're more than welcome to go down and take a look.
Okay, that's terrific. Thank you so much. I'll try and do it over the next day or so, if that's okay. Is there a time, or can I just enter the property?
So it's a new construction. So hit or miss if someone's going to be there working, but you'll be able to, I think Jay, does he still have access into the house to get down to the lower area? There's no stairs built yet to get down to the lower area, but you'll have to access through the house.
Yeah, we're sheetrocking the house currently, so I have no problem with you being there. Just, obviously there's a little hazard with the work that's going on there. So if you want to come by, that's great.
Okay, I'll come by and I'll have someone bring me through.
And if you want to contact me, I can always meet you there too.
Okay. Do you have a contact number?
I do. I can. What's the best way to share it?
Jay, just email me your contact information and I'll get it to Jeff.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Pam.
All right, then I guess I'm looking for a motion to continue to our next meeting on April 27th.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
And I also am in favor to move this, to continue this to our next meeting. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Next on the agenda, we have 130 Sherburne Ave update. Pam, do you want to do that, or want me to read what the notes are?
I can. So the owner, Mr. Caggiano, reported that he is working with the U.S. Department of Agriculture for helping him with his wetland crossing. He applied for a grant to help fund the work. He was checking in with the commission to see what we needed. And he was advised that all of the actions from the enforcement order must be completed and inspected before the enforcement order can be lifted. Then he will need to apply for a notice of intent for the wetland crossing before he can do any of the work. Leah, who was able to look at this, requested a field status report for the work required under the EO. And Norse Environmental, who's a consultant for Mr. Caggiano, said that they still need to wait for the vegetation to grow and reestablish before the commission could consider signing off on the enforcement order. So I checked with our consultant, Chase Bernier, and he said that he could take a look at it at the end of May or early June, and we can revisit this subject at that time.
All right. Any questions from the commission?
Are you kidding me? That was a great update.
Yeah. All right, so we'll just pick this up again after we hear back from Chase then.
Yep.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have 3 Sleepy Hollow Lane tree removal. Director's determination.
Yes, so the homeowner was supposed to mark the trees, and he wasn't able to do so, so Ed wasn't able to inspect the site. So this will have to go on to the next meeting on April 27th.
Okay, I would need a motion to do that.
No, you don't need a motion to do that.
Okay. All right, so we'll move that to 27th. Next on the agenda is 15 Oak Street patio. Pam, what do we got on that?
So Ed visited the site. He measured and took photos showing that the topography is fairly flat, and the shortest distance was about 23 feet from the center section of the deck to under the deck to the water's edge. The homeowner is not here to speak on it, but let me share the screen and show you the photos.
So was Ed, did he approve of this? Was he good with this?
Yeah, he was good with this. Yep.
Okay.
Kidding me? Can you see it?
Yep.
Can you see
lots
the
of pictures.
photos?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is existing conditions under the deck with topography. Looks fairly flat. So it's from his notes, about 23 feet from probably about in here down to the water's edge. That's the locus. Very nice house.
Is this on Muscoppic or?
No, this is Long Pond.
So basically he wants to dig out this lawn area and then pour cement in there?
It's just a just a patio. I think he's going down just a couple of feet. However, I've never built a patio before, but
Yeah, again, it'd be nice to know what was being put in. Certainly my preference would be pavers to be put in, but again, I don't think there's any impact, from the putting this in. Certainly I'd recommend if he's putting in a cement base, then perhaps, appropriate. Yeah, no, actually, I think it'd be fine. But it'd be nice to know, is it, a cement deck or is it pavers or?
yeah. Give me a.
When I spoke with Ed yesterday, he said that they were going to have a truck come in and then pump some cement down into this spot. That he recommended we put up some erosion control, and that it was going to be hand dug, and Ed was okay with the project.
Okay. It sounds fine to me also. I think it's reasonable.
I don't know where if he's going to dig down even 6 inches, I'm not sure where that dirt's going. I wish I had the answer to that, but
Well, we can just put it in the approval that, all excavation materials to be moved away from the resource area.
anybody else have any comments? Bruce, Linda?
I'm good.
All set.
Jeff, do you want to put together a motion to approve this director's determination?
Sure, I'd like to approve the director's determination for a patio at 15 Oak Street. The patio should include the implementation of erosion and silt controls on it, as well as any material removal or removal of materials from the patio site to be moved away from the lake area. They should not be stored between the patio and the lake itself.
Second.
All right, roll call. Linda?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
And I am a yes, so that does pass. All right, discussion. 80 Locust Ave update.
So I spoke with the town engineer, Ed, wanted me to check in with him about the status of this. He said that they stopped the work and erosion controls were installed, and they cleaned out the existing detention pond. And those were the requirements of the stormwater permit. He said that you could have a discussion about the work performed within the buffer zone without an NOI. So since Ed was the one that responded on this, you might want to wait until he can speak more to it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So we can, if you want to put that back on the agenda for the 27th.
Yeah,
do that.
definitely.
Okay.
Because they're over the 5,000 square feet, right?
Well, any disturbance over 5,000 and less than 10,000. So I'm not exactly sure what, how much was actually disturbed. Again, I think that Ed might have a little bit more information.
45 Middlesex Road update.
So Ed had sent a request to DEP last week to take over this enforcement. And he had sent that April 5th. And at this point, we're just waiting to hear from DEP.
All right, so we don't have any minutes to approve. Do you have any correspondence we should know about?
Nope, nothing at this time.
Any new business for anyone that would like to discuss?
This is Jeff. It's just a quick thing. One of the things that has become aware to me is kind of the joys of being retired right now. Certainly, as you all know, I won't be available next week. I'm going to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. But it occurred to me that something that may affect things also is that I am planning on doing a cross-country trip this summer. So I wanted the commission to be aware that I'm going to be gone for a couple of months. And hopefully we have the appropriate associate members who can kind of fill in. And I'm not sure what the status is. If you recall, we had put in, a request for the ability for associate members to vote. And I'm not sure what the status of or where that all turned out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought I remember them saying it has to perhaps go through legislation, but I can
Right.
check to see what the town administrator has, if he has any update on that.
Right. So I bring this up just for thought, before that time comes around,
Sure.
is it appropriate? I mean, do we need to find somebody who can come on to the board? And if it's necessary, do we need to think about me resigning and then coming back on again when I come back again, simply so that we can have a voting member while I'm gone?
When are you going, Jeff?
When?
Yeah.
I'm leaving at the beginning of July and we'll be back in sometime September.
I'm just curious. I know that the appointments, just as long as the selectmen make the appointments so that we have enough people,
Right.
hopefully.
And that's a good point
a
also,
quorum.
because I just filled an appointment, and so my appointment is up again for review, I guess sometime over the next month or two.
You're not getting off that easy, Jeff.
I don't want to get off. I'm just trying to let you
Now
know
that we
what.
got you.
I'm just trying to let you know ahead of
must
time
do.
what's going on.
You
Well,
must say.
let me talk to town administration and mull this over and see if we can come up with a plan.
Okay.
But I'm putting it out there right now that the other members show up.
We do currently have
Yeah.
2 associate members, so, but as you
Yeah,
can
I
see,
mean, unfortunately, they can't vote.
Right. That's
But-
what's been concerning me.
I mean, we can, they can at least be there for a quorum, but you wouldn't be able to really close anything out.
all right, well, thank you for that information, Jeff.
Yep, thanks, Jeff.
That's
Yeah.
very important to know going forward, so.
Enjoy the Outer Banks.
Oh, I know. I've never been there. I am looking forward to it.
As far as the
Fabulous.
minutes, I apologize. I wasn't able to complete the minutes.
You're
Sadly.
out great. You don't have to apologize to us. We feel your pain and the burden that
I've been
you're under
doing,
without any kind of director, so.
triple plus duty here without a director. It's a little daunting.
And does Matt have any update on?
He said that they've gotten a few resumes
Oh,
and
good.
they'll be setting up interviews within the next week or two.
Oh, cool.
Yes. As soon as I asked them if I could see them, as soon as I get them, I'll forward them to you.
Oh, neat. Thanks.
Sure.
All right, under old business, I want to bring up the tree preservation bylaw. I've been working with Liz Antanavica and Eric Solano, our town planner, putting it together. The document originally was about 16 pages. We've got it down to 4. We will be discussing it Thursday night at the planning board, but one of the things that's sort of come out of this is that we really feel that the final decision should really sit with the Conservation Commission rather than the planning board. And I view this similar to stormwater management. So when a plan comes in, stormwater management goes through the planning board, but yet conservation has the final approval on it. And I view the tree preservation bylaw in a very similar way, where an applicant would put together a tree clearing application as part of their special permit, and it would be reviewed by the planning board and then approved by conservation. This we look at this bylaw as something that would stop clear cutting without some sort of a plan. I mean, if you drive down Middlesex, there are spots in Middlesex Avenue that have been cleared with no plan, and it sits, and we look at it, and it looks like a war zone's going on. We want to stop that. We want to make sure that any type of clearing on any property that has not been developed. So if in fact you want to take down some trees on your property where you live, not a problem. You want to take down, if you've got a commercial property, any property with it that has been developed, if you want to take the trees down, no problem. I certainly personally would hope that you would think twice about it. Over the last 10 years, we're averaging about 52 acres a year of lost trees. And our town we're not replacing them. Our canopy is going away. And we're, rather than be the rural town that I think we all want to be, we're rapidly turning into a city. But again, this bylaw is really to prevent clearing of property with no plan in place. Certainly we can come up with many examples that have been a problem. Up behind on Middlesex Ave, up behind Best Friend's Pet, that whole hill is just washed down into Middlesex and been a problem. I wish Pat was here because he could certainly attest to that, because he had a motorcycle accident there last year. And yet that still remains open. 50 Westford Road's another example. That was cleared 7 years ago and nothing's been on there since. So it would stop that decimation of our town without a clear plan in place. That's the gist of it. I will have something that we can all look at and review, and when that's available, I will we'll get it posted to our on the website, and you can all look at it, because I do want comments, I do want some feedback, so that I'm sure we're getting exactly what we want out of it. So that's what I've got for the tree preservation bylaw.
So how often do you think, just out of curiosity, how often do you think this will come into play? Like how many times a year, I guess, do you think we would see this? In particular, because we know, our conservation director with stormwater management, with the Wetlands Protection Act, now with tree management. I'm just kind of curious what kind of impact you think it might have on the work that's being done, in particular, like I say, by Pam and by the director.
So, like I said, first it's going to go through the planning board.
Yep.
And then after the planning board has reviewed it, it would work its way through to conservation. If it doesn't get through the planning board, then nothing happens. How many projects are going to come through a year? I would say maybe 3 or 4.
All right.
Would you say that's right, Pam? Maybe
Yeah,
more?
I mean,
We're looking at subdivisions.
Yep.
Any kind of just a single lot, it would not apply to that.
I mean, right now, there are a couple big industrial parcels along in Middlesex Road. A lot of these projects, the developer does his preliminary research, calls the town, talks to the town planner, talks to the director. They do a lot of research before they do anything. And I think at that point would probably be a good time to, let them know that, well, if you want to do this project, that's great. In addition to getting a site plan review, you need to do this preliminary, review with conservation regarding trees, at least give them a warning shot that don't just clear the lot.
Right. No, I fully understand. I'm just, I just want to ensure that, we have the resources to cover it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, at least in the past, the clear cut action has always been after the fact, like,
right.
Acres have already been, chopped down when we get a call by a resident saying, yeah, they're cutting trees behind my house, and I don't know if, so it's too little too late by that time.
Right. Yep.
So to answer your question, yes, Jeff, it will be a little more work. I'm getting input from our tree warden, and he really is the one who said, we have no idea how many trees we're losing in Tyngsborough right now.
Right.
It's just phenomenal. And we need to do something to try and curb that. And I think that the tree protection bylaw, by just saying you just can't go out and cut anything and then hope to try and move the property, down the road. We want you to come before us with a complete plan that says, okay, we're gonna go in, we're gonna cut, we're gonna put this building on this property, rather than just clear cut and then say, well, geez, I hope someone will come along and buy this.
Right, yep.
Now, we've lost the trees, we've lost all the benefits of the trees, which I won't go into detail, but we all know how important trees can be to a community. Not
Right.
just aesthetically, but, you know, stormwater management, as we all know, you take the trees out, the water and everything it just flows right through with nothing to stop it. Sound, shade for cooling, the list goes on. And it's time that I think Tyngsborough becomes a little more proactive in saving these trees, rather than, so we don't end up looking like Lowell where every single tree is just put into place.
Sure.
And, or anywhere, the closer you get to Boston. I've read through many of the tree preservation bylaws for anywhere south of 495, and they're just trying to hang on to every last tree that they've got. If you're a homeowner down there, you can't cut a tree on your property without getting permission.
Right.
I don't want it to get to that point in Tyngsborough. I just want to stop the clear cutting of, multiple acres at a time, with the hope that somebody will come along and buy it and develop it.
Yep.
So that's really the ultimate purpose of the bylaw.
So
Thank you.
do you want to put this on the agenda for the 27th? Or,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
I know we're meeting next week. If we wanted to do it then to
You
cut down,
could, you could. I
we've pushed a
mean,
lot of stuff onto the 27th.
yeah.
So I don't know how, but I would like to get some feedback from the board. So if we had the document to go
I
over.
mean, Jeff is not able to make the April 20th meeting,
That's correct.
so
But
I don't
certainly-
know.
I mean, it's going to be an ongoing discussion. Jeff, you can review it whenever you want. You can send Pam your thoughts and she'll get them to me and.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll bring it with me. That's not a problem.
So do you want it on the 20th or the 27th? You can always change it. If we put it on the 20th
Okay.
and,
Let's
if
put it on the
things, if we
20th.
just, yeah, if we decide not to, we can push it to another date, but at least before May, because the planning board's got to get through this.
We do have a placeholder on the warrant articles.
Okay.
For this. So we have time. But I do want input from everyone just to make sure we've got all the bases covered and
Okay.
so.
So I noticed in the attendees that Costas is here. I don't know if he's got any comments. We can at least, did you want to,
Well, it would be,
that's for
It-
222 Massapog.
I would be happy to revisit that at this point rather than move it on to the 27th. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Okay,
So we would need a motion to remove our
Costas?
continuance.
Yeah, I'm
and-
here.
okay,
Hear me?
all
Okay.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, was there any people though? Are we assured that there was nobody else going to attend this hearing
Well,
that we may have missed?
well, I was just gonna caution you on that, about that. Because Costas, you weren't here at the beginning of the meeting and I didn't hear from you.
Okay. Yeah, I had a trouble at the beginning. I didn't know where I was at
Oh,
after. So I
so
stayed on.
the commission did vote to continue to the April 27th meeting.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
All
okay.
right, that's okay. We
Let
can-
it go with that.
Okay.
All right, well, sign forms, which we don't have. And on that note, then I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Bruce, you're
Second.
muted, but I got, okay, Linda, good. All right, all those in favor, let's see, Linda,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and I am also in favor to adjourn. Thank you all very much. Jeff, have a
Okay.
great trip next week.
Thank you.
Yes, have a good trip.
Stay
Chad-
safe and.
Bye-bye.
Chaz, thank you for taking the lead tonight.
Ah, my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
All right.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Good
recording,
night.
recording is off.
Thanks, Karen.
All right, take care,
Good night.
everybody.
Bye-bye.